it's Coach Candace. I just wanted to check in, come into your inboxes once again to add a little bit more value to you and to answer more of your questions and talk a little bit more this time about intentional writing time. So, again, let me first introduce myself. My name is Candace B. Woods. I deem myself the mindset architect, and I love working with service-based professionals who are believers and servant leaders to help them design, plan, and develop a compelling vision for their life and business. And so, one of the ways that I help those who are servant leaders are those who have a book that is inside of them, and I help them begin to go through the process of self-publishing so that they can write their book, and so that their book can be used as a vessel to help other people overcome, to help other people heal, and to hopefully draw others to Christ. And so this video is dedicated to those of us who may be struggling a little bit with getting focused, who need some accountability and to increase our discipline. Those of us who need to become more intentional, so that we can go ahead and push past those barriers and to get a strategic plan in motion and in place so that we can be successful and get the book that we have within us out of us onto paper and on bookshelves or in the hands of our readers in 6 months, right? So I want to just continue to add value to you, to continue to share with you tips and tools that I believe will be helpful to you in being successful in self-publishing your book in 6 months or less. And so I want to talk a little bit about intentional writing time and why it's so important to make sure that we dedicate time, effort, energy, and that we do it intentionally so that we can get our book done. Now, this is the thing. I shared my 5-step process, and I want to be clear, a little bit more clear about what that 5-step process is. Okay. And so first part is going to be your vision, right? So it's your vision for your book. It encompasses who you are, right, as the author, making sure that you write a book and that you know who your book is for. So who are you writing the book for? Having a clear understanding of your why you're writing the book, why you want to use this method as a way to reach your people. And then also just having a plan for what you want to do with the book after it's written, right? And so you want to have a clear vision and path so that you can know how to be strategic about it, so that you can know how to create a plan to execute the vision that you establish. So one of the reasons why I wanted to create the Writers Lab is because I wanted those of us who may come into the marketplace as authors, I wanted to help you understand not just writing the book, but then understand the business behind marketing your book, because it's really going to be really, really important. And for many of us, becoming an author isn't the only gift or the only way that we can make money for our business. Many people who come into my programs are already coaches or consultants, or already in ministry in some way, and they just decide that writing a book is just another way, another stream of income for them. Some people, most of them come in working with me and they never really had a desire to write a book, but then something happens along the way they have a testimony and they feel like they need to share it, or they come up with a strategy or a method or something that they want to teach, and the best way to get it out there is to put it in a book. And so whatever the case may be, you need to have a clear vision about writing a book. What is your why for writing the book? And then when you're done, what's going to happen? What are you going to do with it? Okay. And so the other part of the process is you want to, after you created your vision and have a clear vision and direction, you want to just basically start the writing process. And so you want to share your story. You want to talk about your story. You want to get an outline done and all that good stuff. Okay. And so you want to start to think about what you want your book to look like when it's in the hands of your readers. What is your cover going to look like? And so all of this, you got to do the brainstorming, and you got to start thinking about what the theme of your book is going to be, hence the title of your book. And so the second part is really the content, right? It's really the content. How do you take your vision and then put it into content that someone will want to read? And then thinking about the formatting, meaning the layout of your book. How is it going to read? What parts or components are you going to put into the book, like questions? Are you going to put exercises? Are you going to do quotes? Is it going to be more of a devotional style book, or is it going to be something like a self-help, or is it going to be a memoir? You're going to talk about your story. So you want to kind of have an idea about that, and then you want to be conscious of the layout and the format of your book and how you want it to read. All right, so that's the second part. Okay, so after you've done the writing part, and you have a kind of a clear vision about your book, then you want to start thinking about the book cover. Now, the reason why I don't wait until the very end to start thinking about your book cover is because your book cover is pretty much the part, the biggest part that's going to sell your book. Most people aren't going to pick up a book that doesn't appeal to them. So you want to start thinking about your book. Now, if you're writing a memoir, you're writing about yourself, then you want to start thinking about, am I going to put myself on the cover? And if so, I got to start thinking about what my look will be, right? What type of brand and branding, and you want to start doing a little bit of branding in that moment, because the color schemes for your book is important. The way that you take your picture, the style that you might put on the cover of the book, if you're going to put yourself on the book. Those are things that you have to start thinking about. And I encompass it as your brand, right? And so you want to think about that. Now, if you are writing a memoir, I'm going to encourage you to put yourself on the book. Okay. Or if you are writing a book and you are talking about your strategy, right? And you have a signature course or a signature strategy that you've done, and it's your method, then I'm going to encourage you to put yourself on the book. Okay. I think that that you should definitely do that. Now, I didn't do it on my first book. And I kind of look back at it now and say, oh, wow, I wish I had the confidence at that time to do it. But that's okay, because I've always had a desire to write another volume of that book, and I plan to. And so the next one would definitely, I will have myself on the cover. But most times when I'm talking to my clients and we're in consultation, I'm definitely going to encourage you to put yourself on the book, particularly if you are a coach or a consultant, right? And you have a strategy or something that you are promoting as part of your brand. And so I'm going to encourage that. All right. Others, not so much. It just depends. If you have a book that is written where you're giving some tips or tools about, relationships or things like that, you want to be mindful of what you want on the cover of the book in the picture. And so that takes a little bit of time. So I definitely put that kind of in the middle. And so your book cover design, front and back, the colors, how it's going to appeal to your readers. That's going to be very important. So we talk about that as well. Okay. The next one is going to be your editing and proofreading. And so this is going to be kind of the cleanup part of the process. Now that you have your book cover designed, now that you have your content written, you know who you're selling to. Now we need to start cleaning everything up. We need to go ahead and get the formatting done. We need to make sure that everything's proofread, everything looks well, that is well written, that is laid out the way you want it laid out, and that you have as least very few errors, if any, in your book. Okay, and so that's why you want to get it proofread, and you want to make sure that it's cleaned up, and that and I do have resources that I share with you and offer you where you can get that done. Okay, unless you want to do it yourself and save yourself a few coins, and I have given you tips on how you can do that, particularly in the workshop. And then the last part of the process is going to be your distribution. Okay. And so after you've gotten your manuscript in hand, after you've gotten your cover designed and everything looks great, who are you going to use in order to get your book printed? And then, the part of the distribution is once I get it printed, where I buy my books in bulk, or if I set it up where it could go on like Amazon and be sold, printed and sold through them and shipped through them. There are a couple of options. There are quite a few options. You can do one, the other, or both, but there are quite a few options. Or there's also ways to get it put in bookstores as well. And so you got to think about, how do you want this done? But you also have to think about your budget. Okay. And I'm going to do a specific video about your budget, simply because I want you to fully understand that self-publishing, although it is probably the most feasible way to get your book into the hands of others, there's still a cost. Okay. And so you have to determine how much you want to invest in your book. But I'll be honest with you, I did my complete process, and that includes all 5 steps, from my vision, the book cover, to distribution. I did it in less than, I think, $400. Okay. Now, again, that was me. I had a pretty small budget. But I also had some strategies that I was, taught in the process of just, and I teach those strategies now, which is why I'm excited, y'all. Why my group coaching clients recently, in a matter of like 3-4 weeks, sold roughly $3,500 in book sales, and most of that was pre-sales. Okay. And so and I'm going to talk about pre-sales too, so don't worry, I got you covered. We're going to get into all of that, but I do want to encourage you that it can be done. And I want you to understand, and I probably will also do a video on the differences between self-publishing and actually getting a publisher, the cost that it can entail. I'll probably do that so you can make an informed decision. I'm not knocking it, but I do encourage you to start with self-publishing, and then pitch your book once it's done and in hand. Like one of my clients, you'll want to pitch it to a publishing company after it's done, and after you've learned the process and can appreciate the process, but also have your own marketing plan already in place, so that, because I'm going to be honest with you, publishing companies a lot of times are going to say, you know what, we will help you get your books in stores, but we're not going to do the marketing for you. We will help you, we'll give you strategies, but you're still going to have to come up with your own marketing plan. And that's the wonderful thing about my group coaching program, is because I help you with that. I help you design your marketing plan so that you can know and have a clear direction, and learn how to use things like social media and email lists and things like that, so that you can effectively sell your book. Okay. And so let's get into really quickly just some things that you need to be mindful of when it comes to intentional writing time. And what I've done in the writer's lab is I have already designated intentional writing time where I will be there to hold you accountable, to answer any of your questions. If you're struggling with something, I can try to coach you through it. But it is set aside time on a weekly basis that we get down into the content, and we write and we develop and we answer questions and we journal and we pray and we do a lot of good things together. But intentional writing time, I normally incorporate this into my morning jumpstart routine, and I'm going to send you that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to send you my morning jumpstart routine. I send it in a separate email so that you won't have so much that you're trying to read or look at it one time. But my morning jumpstart routine is just my way to start my day with God, spending one-on-one time with Him, reading the Word of God, reading Scripture, making declarations and confessions on, praising God for my day, declaring my day to be great, things of that nature, doing affirmations sometimes, and sometimes I journal, right? And so what I've done is I incorporate, when I'm writing a book, I incorporated that into my morning jumpstart routine, where I strategically and intentionally take and take about 30 minutes or so, in addition to, prayer and worship and reading my devotional and reading scripture or whatever the case may be. I do add another 30 to 45 minutes just to write, just to journal, and just to allow God to speak to me about my book. And so I spend time just writing. I have some questions, some processing questions or moments that I share in the implementation guide from the workshop that is very useful. And the more you start to think about and concentrate on those questions and begin to answer those questions, it's helpful to go ahead and write them in a journal, because you can refer back to them when you're in your writing process and when you are doing your book cover and things like that. Okay, so during your intentional writing time, you want to make sure that you write, or that you make your book project a priority, right? And so that means that the same way that you would go to work and you would make any type of document or quota or deadline that they give you a priority, you need to make your book your priority. And this is the thing I tell my clients about business, right? We have to shift our mindset from being an employee to an entrepreneur. And that can be challenging, but the same way, the same drive, the same effort that you put into someone else's project, someone else's bottom line, someone else's income, someone else's business, you need to do it, put in the same effort. Maybe not as much time, because I do understand you have to work for many of us, but you need to put just as much effort. You need to be just as dedicated and determined to make sure that you are successful as you are in helping someone else be successful. So I want you to make it a priority. I want you to make sure that you're working a outline. I do have a outline that is in the writer's lab that you can follow, that's going to help you be able to determine your book chapters. Is going to help you with your process for your book. I also help you guys with a template. I encourage you to download a template. 48 Hour Books has templates if you use them. And if you use another distributing company, a lot of them have templates as well. So you want to go ahead and get these templates so that you can just take your chapters and everything that you will put into your word processing system. You want to be able to cut and paste that into the template, and then it's already formatted for the most part for you. Okay. So develop a working outline. You want to make sure that you have a notebook. I encourage you to get a notebook. Excuse me. I do have my own little journal. This was one of my first business journals, right? And so I have so many notes. I got a lot of strategies. is full, y'all. Look at that, right? And so I took a lot of time to write, and so my first coaching program is right here in this book. Other tips and tools, what webinars, workshops, coaching that I invested in, I put all of my notes here in this book. And so when I get ready to write my next book, if I want to take some time to actually put my Destiny Blueprint coaching program into a book format, is right here in this journal, and all I got to do is refer back to it. And so that's why I want to encourage you to make sure that you have a journal as well. All right. And so last but not least, make sure that you are setting time. Be mindful of the time of day that you are most alert, that you are awake, and that you are able to really and truly invest some time and energy so that you can think. You can be, like I said, be alert and be up and at it. I'm typically a night owl, so I work kind of late at night sometimes, and so that's when I do my best work a lot of times. I'm not really a morning person, and it took me some time to get used to that, but when I became intentional, I was able to become a morning person. It's really up to you. It's really about your day. We have lives outside of being entrepreneurs. Many of us are wives. Many of us are maybe taking care of aging parents. Many of us have children. Many of us have other full-time jobs. Whatever the case may be, that we will make time for what we want to make time for. And so if your book project is something that you're serious about, then you're going to do the same as well. All right. And so that's it. That's all I wanted to share with you. I want you once again to invite you to the Writers Lab. I want you to be a part of the Writers Lab. I do believe that it will be a blessing to your life. I am down another spot. I had a new client to come on and come into the Writers Lab. And so you can be next. There is a spot waiting for you. I have 12 spots left. And so we won't actually start our group sessions until around, I think, January 13th. I've had to schedule some things just because of everything going on in the world. I did, if initially it was going to be January 12th. I'm sorry, the 20th, but I decided that might not be a good day because people may want to watch the inauguration. Okay. And so, which I'm excited about. So I decided to move it up a day. And so it's going to be the second Wednesday. And that's when we will be doing our group sessions. And so I'm going to open enrollment actually until somewhere around the 20th. The first group session that we will have is just going to be an onboarding type session just to kind of get everybody acclimated and introduce ourselves to everybody. And just so you can kind of tell me a little bit about your vision for your book. So it might be a little lengthy, but at the same time, you won't actually be required to report on where you are in your process until the group session in February. And then also, you will have content available to you as early as next week. So once you sign on, you will be able to log into the online platform and actually begin to watch some of the content and begin to do some of the work and go ahead and get started working on your book. So I'm excited, super excited for you. Hope this was helpful to you. Again, we will be having a vision development event. It's a free event. And so whether you're part of the Writers Lab or just want to attend because you want to take on writing your book yourself, or maybe you're in business and you haven't actually identified some time to sit down and start to strategize for your 2021 vision, this is an opportunity to do that. And so this is a vision development strategy session. And so I'm excited about that as well. You should have received some information about it in your email. I did notice that I did have an error on there. And so it's going to be on Monday, December 28th, not Wednesday, December 30th. And so December 28th, I will send out more information about it to you. Okay. And so really quick before I go, there is a survey that has been added to this email. So I want you to take the survey and I want you to start thinking about how intentional are you really, right? How much time are you really going to dedicate that? And so there are about 5 questions that I want you to answer so that I can get your feedback, so that I can see how dedicated, how intentional you're going to be to ensuring that 2021 is the year that you release and launch the book inside of you. All right. Thank you so much for your time. You guys have a fantastic day. See you. Bye-bye.